Hi, I'm Krista Benhart, your student's math teacher. I teach both pre-algebra and algebra in 8th grade. Mrs. Spring co-teaches with me during my 3rd hour class. In pre-algebra, we use a curriculum called the Utah Middle School Math Project. There is no textbook, so I copy notes packets and homework packets for the kids every unit. In case they don't bring those packets home, they're all delivered via OneNote also, so they can access any of the materials that I hand out in class from home if they forget their materials. The Utah Middle School Math Project is inquiry-based learning, which means for the start of most lessons, the kids try to figure out the rules and why something is the way it is before we actually get into giving them the algorithm. So in that way, it seems to stick better when the kids figure out the why themselves and then you give them the rule. Here are the pre-algebra topics we hope to cover this year. First, we talk about solving linear equations. We're going to spend quite a bit of time there because that's something the kids really need before they go to Algebra 1 next year. Chapter 2 is proportional and linear relationships. Chapter 3 is representations of a line. Chapter 4 is simultaneous linear equations. Hello, I'm Krista Benhart, your student's math teacher. I teach pre-algebra and algebra in 8th grade. Christina Spring co-teaches with me in my 3rd hour class. Pre-algebra uses the Utah Math Project for their curriculum. There is no book, so I copy notes and homework packets to give to your kids. If they forget those at school or lose them, they can also get copies that I have distributed into OneNote. Utah is an inquiry-based learning where the majority of the lessons start with the kids having a discovery learning lesson where they try to figure out why the rule that I'm going to teach them works. So that's the gist of the Utah program. In that, we're going to include the topics of analyzing and solving linear equations. We're going to spend quite a bit of time there. Chapter 2 is proportional and linear relationships. Chapter 3 is representations of a line. 4 is simultaneous linear equations. Chapter 5 is functions. Chapter 7 is rational and irrational numbers. Chapter 8 is integer, exponents, and 3D measurement, and hopefully we'll be able to make it to chapter 9, which is geometry. Our algebra book uses Envision Algebra, so they will have a textbook to bring home. I have also distributed that to OneNote, so they're welcome to leave their textbooks home so they don't have to haul them back and forth. There'll be a version available for them to use here when they work on their homework. In algebra, we're going to jump in with equations and inequalities. Unit 2 is linear equations. Unit 3 is linear functions. 4 is systems of linear equations and inequalities. 5 is piecewise functions. 6 is exponents and exponential functions. 7 is polynomials and factoring. 8 is quadratic functions. 9 is solving those quadratic equations. And 10 is working with functions. Last year we were not able to get to Unit 11. Maybe we'll get there this year, and that would be our statistics unit. If you need to see what the homework that your child has, it can be found on GMS Learn. You can click on our 8 blue tab and find our homework website there. We update that daily. They can find all their subjects right there. For math, I also post their daily homework in Teams, so that goes to their Teams calendar. As far as grading goes, skill work, which is classwork, homework, that's all 20%. Some things I grade on completion, some things I pull and grade on accuracy. Quizzes make up 30% of their grade, while tests make up 50%. Algebra class will have 3 trimester exams. We won't have those in pre-algebra. Skill work, like I said, is classwork and homework, and it's due by the unit test in order to get credit. So I will accept work from the unit up until the day of the unit test. All work must be shown for full credit. IXL is part of that. I want you to know that if your student is practicing IXL for more than 30 minutes, they should stop and send me an email. That means they're just doing the same thing wrong over and over. I don't want this to be torture, so if that's the case, have them stop, send me an email, and we'll talk about it on the following day. This year, we're instituting working lunches for students that have late homework and do not get it in by the next day. As far as the gradebook goes, if your student did not turn in a homework assignment, you'll see that as an NHI, with the exception of IXLs. If they didn't complete their IXLs or didn't spend any time in IXL, you'll see a 0 in there. Quizzes and tests. Students can retake any quiz or test. Quizzes can be retaken for up to 100% of the credit, and tests can be retaken for up to 85%. In order to do retakes, students have to have all of their homework completed and corrections done on the test and turned in. Quizzes can be taken up till the day of the test, and tests you have 2 weeks after I return them to retake. And this is a burning question for a lot of 8th graders and parents, what's going to happen in high school. So high school recommendations usually are in e-school in January or February. I base my recommendation on MAP scores and final exam scores if the kids take finals, and excuse me, and test scores. So pre-algebra options, your student has 2 choices, or 2 options. They can go into Algebra 1, which is a 2-semester class, or Algebra 1A, which is the same class but at a slower pace for 4 semesters. Algebra options, algebra students must pass by state law and the algebra class before they go on to geometry. So if they don't pass the class, it is required that algebra be repeated. After that, your options are regular pace geometry or honors geometry. So I'll know more December after the final. You're welcome to call or email and we can talk about it. So if you need to email me at any time, my email is kbenhart@geneva304.org or Mrs. Spring is cspring@geneva304.org. Contact me anytime if you have any questions. So that's all I have for you. Let me know if you need anything. Thank you.